Our next speaker, Meli, will be talking today about self-love and self-care. Please welcome Meli to the stage.
We, as young people, have become completely desensitized to the idea of loving ourselves. Because as much as we are told to do it, we are also told to look a certain way, dress a certain way, do this and that so we can become a certain way. Boys, men, you have to be 6 feet tall and made of pure muscle. You need to be able to do X amount of pull-ups and squat X kilograms in the gym, all the while loving yourselves. Girls, women, we need to be lean, but thick with 2 C's. We need to be natural, but not too natural, otherwise we're slobs, all the while loving ourselves. And to the people who identify beyond the constraints of cis, you pose a threat to society's binary gender roles. Your fluidity is seen as confusing, alarming even. Your refusal to be either masculine or feminine goes against everything we have been taught to accept. And you need to go through life knowing this, experiencing this every single day of your lives, all the while loving yourselves. Society has made self-love and body acceptance conditional to obtaining these absurd beauty standards that are currently worshipped. And the problem here is that not only are our own bodies constantly changing and developing, but these beauty standards are too. So we base the love and acceptance that we have for ourselves on something that is constantly fluctuating. Do you remember those tiny little eyebrows that used to be a thing, like the little line across your face, and people used to pluck and wax them so that they'd be super skinny? Honestly, take a look at what trendy eyebrows look like now. They're full and thick and the complete opposite of what they used to be. You see, when we base the love we have for ourselves on something that is constantly changing, we will always be on a roller coaster, chasing those societal beauty standards and therefore chasing the self-love and acceptance that we have denied ourselves for so long, but never actually getting anywhere. This roller coaster becomes even more dangerous the moment media, especially social media, becomes a cart that we can ride in. Honestly, take your pick. Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, Stan, Netflix, even the news. The news is riddled with this distorted idea of beauty. As we scroll, we become buried in this mound of diet culture and Fitspo and weight loss and what I eat in a days. And every post we scroll through about the perfect beach body, exercises for a flat stomach, how to get rid of cellulite, find the perfect diet for your body type, is another mound of dirt that pushes us deeper into this suffocating, never-ending hole of self-loathing and disgust. Taking a step off that roller coaster and dismantling societal beauty standards as individuals and as a collective is the single most important step we can take towards self-acceptance and love. This means realizing that beauty cannot be defined by some measurement or number. Realizing that no one person fits this idea of perfect, whatever that is. And most importantly, realizing that we are beautiful and we are worthy of love, respect, and support no matter what. 4% of Australians have an eating disorder. That is over 900,000 people whose lives revolve around what they eat rather than their well-being. They are faced with the psychological and emotional turmoil and trauma that accompanies any mental illness. They isolate themselves from the people around them, from fear of judgment, from fear of people noticing how they look, from fear of food. They lose any and all sense of themselves. Their identity slowly slips away from them as they struggle against this little voice in their heads that's constantly yapping at every decision they make. And every day on top of this, they face invalidation. First off, the most commonly recognized eating disorder is anorexia nervosa, Honestly, when any person thinks of an eating disorder, they think of anorexia and someone who is significantly underweight. Bulimia nervosa is also recognized, however, to a lesser degree. And when people think of bulimia, they think of vomiting, and again, someone who is significantly underweight. We have no idea the extent to which an eating disorder can affect a person. And worst of all, society has become accustomed to the idea of eating disorder equals anorexia or vomiting equals underweight. We forget that bulimia is actually a cycle of restrictive food habits followed by binge eating followed by purging. We forget about the existence of other eating disorders like binge eating or purging or pica or rumination or anything else that can fit on that list. And worst of all, we stigmatize it. So people who are experiencing this feel invalid because they do not have something that society has classified as an eating disorder, so they don't seek help, quietly struggling through it by themselves. Second off, when we think of an eating disorder, we think of underweight. It's a reflex. People who are fat or people who have like some sort of normal body type that we can agree on cannot have an eating disorder, right? Actually, eating disorders have no body type. A person can be fat and struggling with anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, etc. A person can be skinny or extremely fit and muscular or whatever we consider normal and struggling with anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, etc. You cannot look at a person and think, oh, hey, they have an eating disorder because they're extremely skinny, or oh, hey, they can't have an eating disorder because they look normal or they are fat. It doesn't work like that. A person's experiences with an eating disorder is valid regardless of their weight. What's more is when we think of healthy, we for some reason make this connection to skinny or extremely muscular and fit. I shouldn't have to explain why this is harmful. If skinny is healthy, then by definition, any person who loses weight or already has this body type should be healthy, regardless of what they might be going through, whether that be an illness or a disease or some sort of trauma or a mental illness. Because they are skinny, they are inherently healthy, right? As an extension, our societal fat phobia has bred this idea that anyone who is fat is inherently unhealthy or lazy or a slob or constantly eating. So when a fat person says they have an eating disorder, they face responses like, oh, good, you'll lose some weight, or oh, it doesn't look like it, you look the same. This is disgusting. Mental health illnesses do not discriminate. They are relentless and suffocating in all types of evil, but they do not pick and choose their victims. This list of invalidations that a person can experience is honestly inexhaustible. I could go on forever and ever and still not get to the bottom of it. But there is one final statement I would like to make about this. While females do comprise of 64% of people who do struggle with an eating disorder, we cannot generalize based on gender. A male struggle with an eating disorder is just as valid as a female struggle with an eating disorder. Any person's struggle with an eating disorder, regardless of how they identify, is valid, and they deserve respect and support. The easiest way to help a person struggling with an eating disorder or any mental health illness is to validate their experiences. Educate yourselves. Take the steps to make them feel comfortable. Without validation, we breed a culture in which people feel unworthy or unsafe to speak up. They sit and struggle through a world of pain because they feel that they are undeserving of help or that other people need it more. This is not true. Your experiences and struggles are valid. Your feelings are valid. Your emotional and physical health and well-being are valid. You are valid. Regardless of what you are struggling through or not struggling through, you deserve love, respect, and support. Mental health is a never-ending spectrum. There are always ways in which it can get worse or better. So don't compare your mental health journey to others, and understand that no matter what and above all else, you need to take those steps to look after yourself and love yourself. I want you to think about the people you love most in this world, the people you appreciate and respect or look up to, the people who have had some sort of positive influence in your life. If you were to make a jar with all the memories you have with them, or all the reasons you love, respect, and appreciate them, what would you put in it? I can almost guarantee you, no, actually, I can definitely guarantee you that nothing you would put in that jar would have anything to do with their weight, their size, how they look. Your top reasons for loving or respecting them would not be that they have clear skin or a small nose or biceps or a thigh gap. Your favorite memories with them would not be when they lost X kilograms or when they were on a diet or when they finally got abs. If in our heads another person's worth is not based on their physical traits, why do we equate our own worth to how we look? You are the person you should love the most, above anyone else. It is not selfish, it is not conceited, it is powerful. We have been criticizing and hating and abusing ourselves for so long, and we have never gotten anywhere. So let's try something different. Let's validate our experiences with body image and self-acceptance. Realize that they stem from some absurd societal beauty standards that are always changing. Always, constantly changing. And let's learn to love ourselves, by ourselves, for ourselves. Because honestly, we deserve nothing less.